A Treatise of Satan's Temptations. By Richard Gilpin. A Discourse of the Malice, Power, Cruelty and Diligence of Satan. Second part of Chapter 8. Of Satan's cunning, and craft in the general. Several demonstrations, proving Satan to be deceitful, and of the reasons why he makes use of his cunning. Neither doth that expression of the Apostle, James 1:14, every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust, give any contradiction to this. It is not the Apostle's design to exclude Satan, but to include man as justly culpable, notwithstanding Satan's temptations. And that which he asserts is this, that there is sin and a temptation truly prevalent, when there is the least consent of our lust or desire, and that it is that brings the blame upon us. So that his purpose is not to excuse Satan, or to deny him to have a hand in drawing or tempting us on to sin, but to show that it is our own act that makes the sin to become ours. 4. Fourthly, such is the constitution of the soul of man, that its sinning cannot be conceived without some deception or delusion. For, granting that the soul of man is made up of desires, and that the soul were nothing else but, as it were, one willing or lusting power, diversified by several objects, and that this power or these faculties are depraved by the fall, and corrupted, and that man in every action doth consult with his desires, and that they have so great an influence upon him, that they are the law of the members, and give out their commands accordingly for obedience. Yet still these three things are firm and unshaken principles. 1. First, that desires cannot be set upon any object, but as it is apprehended truly, or apparently good. It is incompatible to a rational soul to desire evil as evil, omne appeti bonum. 2. Secondly, the will doth not resolvedly embrace any object, till the light of the understanding hath made out, some way or other, the goodness or conveniency of the object. 3. Thirdly, there is no man that hath not a competent light, for discovery of the goodness or evil, of an object presented. Unregenerate men have, 1. The light of nature. 2. Some have an additional light from Scripture discovery. 3. Some have yet more from common convictions, which beget sensible stirrings and awful impressions upon them. 4. To those, God sometime adds corrections and punishments, which are a force to make that light burn more clear, and to stir up care and caution in men, for the due entertainment of these notices, that God affords them. Regenerate men have all this light, and besides that, they have, 1. The light of their own experience, of the vileness and odiousness of sin. They know what an evil and bitter thing it is. 2. They have a more full discovery of God, which will make them abhor themselves in dust and ashes. Job 42:6. Isaiah 6:5. 3. They have the advantage of a new heart, the law of the Spirit of life, making them free from the law of sin and death. 4. They have also the help and assistance of the Spirit, in its motions, suggestions, and teachings. 5. They fortify themselves with the strongest resolutions, not to give way to sin. Notwithstanding all these, it is too true that both regenerate and unregenerate men do sin. The reason whereof cannot be given from any other account, than what we have asserted, to wit, they are some way or other deluded or deceived. Some curtain is drawn betwixt them and the light. Some fallacy or other is put upon the understanding, some way or other. The will is bribed or biased. There is treachery in the case, for it is unimaginable, that a man in any act of sin, should offer a plain open, and direct violence, to his own nature and faculties. So that the whole business is here, evil is presented under the notion of good. And to make this out, some considerations of pleasure or profit do bribe the will, and give false light to the understanding. Hence is it, that in every act of sin, men, by compliance with Satan, are said to deceive, or to put tricks and fallacies upon themselves. 5. Fifthly, all kinds of subtlety are in Scripture directly charged upon Satan, and in the highest degrees. Sometime under the notion of logical fallacies, those slights which disputants, in arguing, put upon their antagonists. Of this import is that expression, 2 Corinthians 2:11, we are not ignorant of his devices, where the word in the original is borrowed from the sophistical reasonings of disputants. Sometime it is expressed in the similitude of political deceits. As the Scripture gives him the title of a prince, so doth it mark out his policies, in the management of his kingdom, Revelation 12:7, expressly calling them deceits, and comparing him to a dragon or serpent for his subtlety. Sometime he is represented as a warrior, Revelation 12:17, the dragon was wroth, and went to make war. And here are his warlike stratagems pointed at. Mention is made, 2 Timothy 2:26, of his snares, and the taking of men alive, or captive, directly alluding to warlike proceedings, Zeta Omega Gamma Rho Mu Epsilon Nu Omicron Iota. The subtle proceedings of arts and craft are charged on him, and his instruments. Men are said to be enticed, James I, as fish or fowl, by a bait. Others deluded, as by cheaters in false gaming, Ephesians 4:14, by the sleight of men, and the cunning craft of those that lie in wait to deceive. The overreaching of merchants or crafty tradesmen is alluded to, in 2 Corinthians 2:11. All these sleights are in Satan, in their highest perfection and accomplishment. He can transform himself into an angel of light, 2 Corinthians 11:14, where he hath an occasion for it. In a word, all deceivableness of unrighteousness is in him, 2 Thessalonians 2:10. So that a general pi alpha nu omicron upsilon rho gamma alpha, a dexterity and ability for all kind of subtle contrivances, is ascribed to him, 2 Corinthians 11:3, and that in his very first essay upon Eve, when the serpent deceived her through subtlety. So that whatsoever malice can suggest, or wit and art contrive for delusion, or whatsoever diligence can practice, or cruelty execute, all that must be imagined to be in Satan. Thanks.